For thousands of years, Jewish families have known something about the home that most of the modern world has forgotten. That the space where you live is not neutral. It is not simply four walls and a roof. It is a living environment, one that either attracts blessing or repels it. One that either invites the presence of something sacred or slowly, quietly, pushes it away. And the rabbis of the Talmud, the greatest minds in Jewish history, were very specific about what pushes it away. Not demons, not curses, not anything mystical or impossible to control. Three specific things. Things that exist right now in millions of homes around the world. Things that most people never question, because no one ever told them what Jewish wisdom says about what they attract. Today that changes. Welcome. What you are about to hear is ancient Jewish wisdom about the home. Wisdom that has protected and sustained Jewish families for over 2,000 years. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what Jewish tradition says to remove from your home, and why the Talmud connects these three things directly to the flow of blessing and abundance in a household. Before we go further, subscribe right now. Every week this channel goes deeper into the practical wisdom of the Jewish people, teachings that have guided one of the most resilient and prosperous communities in human history. One tap, and let's begin. The first thing Jewish wisdom warns against keeping in your home is disorder. Not the ordinary clutter of a busy family, something deeper than that. The Mishnah, in Tractate Sota, records a teaching from Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair that has been studied for nearly 2,000 years. He outlines a chain. Zeal leads to cleanliness. Cleanliness leads to purity. Purity leads to holiness. Holiness leads to humility. Humility leads to fear of sin. Fear of sin leads to piety. Piety leads to divine inspiration. Divine inspiration leads to the revival of the dead. The entire chain begins with one word: cleanliness. Not prayer, not study, not ritual. Cleanliness. The Talmud, in Tractate Shabbat, goes even further. It says that a Torah scholar whose clothes are stained is deserving of divine displeasure because he disgraces both himself and the God in whose image he was made. And the Torah itself, in Deuteronomy, gives the reason behind all of it. Because God walks in the midst of your camp, therefore your camp must be holy, so that he will not see anything unseemly among you and turn away from you. Read that again. God turns away from spaces that are neglected, not because he is easily offended, but because blessing, like light, naturally moves toward order, toward care, toward a space that has been tended with intention. A home that is neglected sends a silent signal. We are not prepared to receive. And blessing, according to Jewish wisdom, responds accordingly. The second thing Jewish tradition warns against keeping in the home is broken objects. This teaching is rooted in one of the most fundamental concepts in all of Jewish law, the concept of tumah, often translated as ritual impurity. The Talmud teaches that certain objects, when damaged or destroyed, carry a different energy than they did when whole. The reasoning is profound. A broken object is an object that has lost its purpose. It no longer fulfills the function for which it was created. And according to Jewish mystical thought, every object in a home participates in the energy of that home. When you surround yourself with things that are broken, cracked, chipped, or non-functional, you fill your space with the energy of incompletion, of things that were meant to work and no longer do, of potential unrealized. The Zohar, the central text of Jewish mysticism, teaches that the home is a microcosm. What is inside it reflects and influences what flows toward it from the outside. A home filled with functional, cared-for objects sends a message to the universe. This is a household that values wholeness, that maintains what it has, that is worthy of more. A home filled with broken things, things kept out of habit, things never quite fixed or replaced, sends the opposite message. This is why, in Jewish tradition, there has always been an emphasis on the care and maintenance of household objects. Not wealth, not expensive possessions, simply care. A modest home, maintained with intention, is understood to carry more blessing than a wealthy home filled with neglect. The third thing is perhaps the most surprising, and to understand it, you need to understand one of the most distinctive and least understood practices in all of Jewish mourning tradition. When a Jewish family sits Shiva, the 7-day mourning period following the death of a loved one, they cover all the mirrors in the house, every mirror, every reflective surface, covered with cloth, for the entire 7 days. Most people who know this custom assume it is about keeping the focus on grief rather than physical appearance. That is one explanation. But the deeper reason, according to Jewish mystical tradition, is something else entirely. The Talmud teaches that the evil eye, the harmful energy of envy and malice, can be transmitted through reflective surfaces. A mirror does not just show you yourself. According to this teaching, it shows what is there to be seen, including things that most people cannot see with the naked eye. During the vulnerable period of mourning, when the family's spiritual protection is at its lowest, the mirrors are covered as a form of protection. But here is what most people miss. The mirrors are covered during Shiva because that is when protection is most needed, which raises the obvious question: what about the rest of the time? Jewish tradition does not say to cover your mirrors permanently, but it does teach something very specific about mirrors and the energy they hold. A mirror that is dirty, cracked, cloudy, or poorly placed in the home, one that reflects disorder back into the space, amplifies that disorder, multiplies it. A mirror that reflects a beautiful, ordered space, one that is clean and clear and placed with intention, does the opposite. It multiplies the light. The same object, two completely different functions, depending entirely on the care given to it and its placement. What we are describing is not superstition. It is a framework, refined over thousands of years, for understanding the home as a living environment that actively participates in the flow of blessing. If this is landing for you, hit the like button right now, 1 second. It helps more people find these teachings. And subscribe, because what comes next reveals what Jewish wisdom says you should do immediately after removing these 3 things, to replace them with what actually attracts abundance. Now, Jewish wisdom does not just tell you what to remove, it tells you what to put in its place. And the framework is both ancient and practical. The first principle: replace disorder with intentional order. The Talmud teaches that the day before Shabbat, every Friday, observant Jewish families clean and prepare their homes. Not because guests are coming, because Shabbat itself is the guest. The rabbis taught that preparing the home for Shabbat, cleaning, setting the table, placing fresh candles, is an act of honor for the sacred energy that enters the home at sundown. And here is what they observed over thousands of years. A home that is regularly prepared, regularly honored, regularly treated as a sacred space, tends to be a home where blessing settles, where peace is more easily maintained, where relationships flourish, where prosperity follows. Not as magic, as natural consequence. An environment of order and care creates the conditions in which good things grow. The second principle: replace broken things with what is whole and functional. This does not mean spending money you do not have. It means making a decision. Either fix what is broken or release it. Jewish tradition teaches that holding on to things that no longer serve their purpose is a form of stagnation. It signals, both to yourself and to the world, that you are attached to the past state of things, that you are not ready to move forward. Releasing what is broken, with gratitude for what it once provided, creates space. And space, in Jewish wisdom, is where blessing enters. The third principle: use reflective surfaces with intention. Place mirrors where they reflect light, where they open a space, where what they show back to you is something you want to see more of. Keep them clean, keep them clear, and understand what Jewish tradition has always known. The home you create on the outside is a reflection of the intention you hold on the inside. Now, let us step back and look at what all 3 of these teachings have in common, because there is one principle that runs through all of them, and once you see it, you will understand why the Jewish people have been emphasizing it for 3,000 years. The principle is this: blessing does not force its way into a home. It is invited. The Talmud teaches that the divine presence, the Shekhinah, does not rest in places of disorder, of neglect, of spiritual stagnation. It rests where it is welcomed, where it is expected, where the space has been prepared to receive it. Every Friday evening, when Jewish families light candles, set the table, and welcome Shabbat into their home, they are performing an ancient act of invitation. They are saying, "This home is ready. This space has been prepared. Whatever blessing wishes to enter, the door is open." That is the real wisdom behind all 3 of these warnings. It is not about avoiding bad luck. It is about creating the conditions in which good things happen naturally. A clean, ordered home where broken things are repaired or released, where reflective surfaces are clear and intentional, is a home that says, in a language older than words, "We are ready to receive." 3 things, rooted in 2,000 years of Jewish wisdom about the home. Disorder and neglect, which the Talmud says drives the divine presence away. broken and damaged objects which fill the space with the energy of incompletion and stagnation, and reflective surfaces used without intention which multiply whatever they face, for better or for worse. What strikes me most about these teachings is not what they say to remove. It is what they reveal about how Jewish wisdom understands the home. Not as a passive container for the life you happen to be living, but as an active participant in it, an environment that either opens the door to blessing or quietly closes it, and one that responds, always, to the care and intention of the people living inside it. Before you go, I want to ask you something directly. Of these three things, disorder, broken objects, or neglected mirrors, which one do you recognize most in your own home right now? Be honest. Write it in the comments below. I read every single comment, and the conversations in this community are some of the most honest I have ever read. If this video gave you something, a new way of seeing your own space, hit the like button right now. It helps more people find these teachings. And subscribe because next week we are revealing another ancient Jewish wisdom about what to bring into your home, something that the Talmud says has attracted abundance to Jewish households for 3,000 years, and that most people have never been told about. One tap to subscribe. Thank you for being here. Shalom.